You might have thought that picture-sharing websites were the bane of teachers' lives, offering a constant distraction from lessons and homework.
But one group of history teachers has enlisted the internet to post a series of films on YouTube, and they've seen a drastic improvement in their pupils' exam results, with boys doing especially well. Well, we asked a group of South London teenagers what they thought of the idea.
In some lessons I start falling asleep because I find it really boring, and with the slideshows it'd make it more easier and comfortable, and you would want to watch it and not just like, oh yeah, whatever.
It is quite annoying sometimes when teachers are rabbiting on about different stuff like that, and some people, like young people, might know it.
It's appealing to people our age, and it's not got like that much writing on each slide, so it's good to all take in at the same time.
You can easily just crack on a computer and just see Henry VIII, Bobsy's uncle.
Love that. Roy Huggins is one of the history teachers using YouTube in lessons, and Tristram Hunt, and a sports enthusiast, is also a historian. Good morning to you. Well, aside from knowing your Torval and Dean, you also know your history. Do you think this would be the way forward then? We'll find out just how successful this has been, but you like the idea?
Yeah, very much so. I think it's very exciting. I think it takes history out of the classroom, which is always good. It's not limited to dull Tuesday mornings. Actually, it's something you can look at home, look at with other people, engage with. I also think it's clevering up rather than dumbing down. Actually, the site we saw was about the social history of Bradford football, the history of working class people in Yorkshire, the impact of World War I. So it's actually a very engaging topic, and what we know is that young boys are getting interested in history through this, which is always a challenge, keeping their attention.
Roy, what sort of feedback are you getting then from the people you teach?
Oh, our students love it. I mean, variety is the spice of life. I mean, there's a role for textbooks, there's a role for YouTube, there's a role for, a range of different strategies to engage them and get them to enjoy what they're doing. I mean, the particular resource you were showing on Bradford Football Club, made by Dan Morehouse, I mean, it evokes an emotional response from them. You're fitting in facts as you're going along with the music, It's a different way of engaging students who often are switched off by more traditional means.
Yeah. Do they not get distracted, though, by other sites? We all know the internet's a great time waster.
Yes, but in a sense, we have our own school website. There are other websites as well, but you have to be aware that we're talking about 21st century students here. They're on YouTube, they're everywhere. We're trying to make our stuff maybe more accessible and, posting it around the place, so, that we know they're going to be on YouTube, so the resources are there, so, that they have to want to access them.
At some point, Tristram, though, you do have to knuckle down and learn, what the date was of the Battle of Bannockburn, if that's your period of history.
Yeah, you absolutely do. 1314. I don't know the precise date. I had a Scottish history teacher, so he was very clear on the place of that within British history. You absolutely. I mean, this seems to me as much an advert, as it were, rather than a totality of the lesson. You bring people into the history, and I think the internet is actually very good at this. We're seeing it used more and more in interesting ways in local history, genealogical research, and also even some of the games students play about civilization, building societies. I mean, most of them obviously are sort of war-based, but even though there are elements of the past which begin to excite people about learning more.
Well, so, okay, we have to be more creative then, particularly if we're going to get young boys on board, but does that not also suggest that we should be getting more creative in the classroom, that perhaps teachers aren't quite hitting the mark where their lessons are concerned?
Well, certainly from the perspective of history, I mean, Ofsted say that history is the best taught subject in the curriculum, and I know there are thousands of history teachers across the country who are using websites like schoolhistory.co.uk and are actually doing very exciting, very interactive lessons of the type you're seeing here. I can't speak for other subjects, but I know certainly in history there's a lot going on, and Ofsted certainly are very pleased with what's happening.
Yeah.
I think what this makes the case for is actually continuing to teach history excitingly and properly in our schools. There's a debate at the moment about merging history with geography and RE into some bland, terrible humanities subject, but actually, that's defeatist. Here you've got brilliant teachers engaging new audiences with the past, and that's what you've got to do, rather than sort of have a defeatist attitude, oh well, it's too hard and complex. Actually, it's just all merged into some nonsense subject.
And finally, you've seen the proof really in the figures then. You've seen an increase in grades as a result of this.
We've been developing these resources for a long time, but certainly the past 3 years we've gone from a 27% pass rate to 47% last year to 58% this year.
And you attribute that to that way of learning.
To interactive teaching styles using multimedia and, of course, variety being the spice of life. You know, we will use whatever tools we can in our toolkit to help kids achieve.
Good. Yeah. Thank you both very much indeed.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a topic that's interested you this morning. Bob in Bidford says, if all teachers put their lessons on for the term online, we'd have as many teachers in every subject as there are computers. Kids who want to get ahead could, and the kids who struggle could learn at their own pace.
And Peter's emailed to say, well, thank goodness for YouTube. How on earth would we manage without it? As was stated by one of the people interviewed at some school or another, it does make things more easy and comfortable. Perhaps one of the main problems in schools is that a lot of today's pupils are part of the I'm bothered generation. Or am I bothered, rather. Yeah. OK, thank you very much for those.
Now it's almost 9:15. She's one of the year's biggest success stories with her first album debuting at #2. Scottish singer-songwriter Amy MacDonald has made us sit up and take notice, and at just 20 she's been